Hey everyone, Rascal here.
And Mama, welcome to our podcast.
Yet again, we're covering another Studio Ghibli film. This time, it's The Wind Rises.
Yes, and this film is actually a much more grounded film, as it shows the life of Jiro Horikoshi, a soon-to-be famous plane designer during World War II.
Yes, and before we start, be sure to like, subscribe, and click notification bell updates on future podcasts and multiple pause videos.
Yes, so this one has several genres that are represented. It's a love story. It's
biopic, anime biopic. It's
slice of
drama,
life.
yes, and a bit of fantasy with some really extravagant dream sequences.
And what's amazing in watching this one is it's different from other Ghibli movies. It's almost like watching a regular movie.
Yeah.
That's what kind of amazed me at the end. It was like watching a live action movie.
Yes.
Except it was animated.
Right. Definitely. Because there are this movie is slightly over 2 hours, which is normal for a Miyazaki film majority of the time. And it shows his life from a time being a kid, like a quick time there, all the way to adulthood and how he got into this field of making the planes. And I think this was done because Miyazaki loves planes, loves flying, loves how they design them. It's one of his biggest passions. And Horikoshi has to be a big inspiration for him. So he decided to make a movie based off his life. Rather than do a fictional take and make it just an anime movie with him in it, he decided to just tell his story through animation instead, as a animated biopic.
And when he tends to go this route, it seems that there's always a bittersweet part to the story and also a bittersweet ending, which I know is based in reality. That's probably the only thing for me that I'm not happy about when I watch these type of Miyazaki movies. That reality element where you don't get that happy ending. And I know for people listening that that's how life is, but when I watch animation, I really a lot of times want a happy ending.
Right.
Now, that being said, that doesn't take away from the excellence of this movie. And again, it's different from all the other Ghibli movies. It's interesting. There are some fun parts, and you generally end up liking Hiro a whole lot, and you really want things to go well for him. And then you also get a lot of historical information within the movie that you probably didn't know about. Some of it we didn't. And so it is a joy to watch.
Yes, absolutely. And they had a, once again, big star-studded cast with Hiro being voiced by Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Which I was very surprised at.
Yes, and yeah, it was a lot of people that we did not expect in here, but this is sort of like a trend with the Ghibli
William
films.
Macy.
Yes, and having so many big-time movie stars or TV stars voicing the English dub. And they all performed really well. It didn't feel like you were just seeing somebody voice a character.
Emily Blunt as well.
Yes, as the soon-to-be wife. Yes.
Yes. So it starts off kind of surprisingly, he's young, and you see something that happens in his life in childhood, and it's a very quick scene.
Right.
And then you jump to him being an adult on his way to his first job.
Right.
And then on his way, it's like Demon Slayer, he ends up doing a good deed for someone.
Yes. And you see how his life goes from one point to another, where he goes from being somebody that was just a dreamer for making these planes, to actually making them.
Now, in that first encounter, he meets who's end up going to be a very important person in his life, and he doesn't know it.
Yes.
By doing this good deed and helping the girl and her mother.
Yes.
And then we see them come along later in the movie, and it's like you get to learn how in life, as it really is, sometimes the smallest things that happen, or things that seem insignificant, or we meet people we think we won't meet anymore, they end up becoming a major important part of our lives.
Yes. And one thing also stuck out about it is that Hiro's dream was just to make planes for fun, for beauty, for travel. It was more like, almost like making his own airline too, in a way, because his dreams always have where he's got friends and family on board. He has his fans on the plane, and they got like it's a train on a plane where they could just eat and talk and relax and travel the world and see things with it. And the unfortunate part is that the designs and stuff were used for war. And for some people that didn't sit well, it's like, well, why'd you use your gift for that? But you have to know that even though it's based on something in real life, that's just what was done then. That was the only way he could make planes. But he wanted to be like, after the war was over, he would make the planes for what he wanted. So it's not so much as this was like a betrayal or anything, but this was just a thing of the times of its time. Yeah. So I think it's best not to take it so much to heart and feel like it's a bad part of history or a bad part of his life or anything.
More because it isn't. It's just telling you the facts during that time.
Right.
And Hiro is so funny. His dressing style. At one point, he has on this. It's like a periwinkle suit, and
it's
he
like,
just.
What?
Where did he get that from? But again, you really end up loving this character, and you are taken through his experience. He's brilliant.
Mm-hmm.
He's absolutely brilliant. He's a genius, and everyone knows that. And he ends up, because of his gift and his passion for planes, he ends up traveling the world.
Mm-hmm.
And they send him to different countries such as Germany, France. I don't remember if he came to America or not.
No, because it was against the Americans.
Right.
Yeah.
And he got to learn new techniques and design and technology.
Mm-hmm.
And he got to learn many new things that he didn't know. And in addition to that, he got to share his gift with others, and they had things that were going on, and he would help improve them, like Einstein, very quickly. And everyone that met him and realized that genius wanted to work with him, wanted to talk with him, wanted to promote him.
Mm-hmm.
And it's also giving you a glimpse into the law of attraction.
Mm-hmm.
His passion and his love and his focus took him to great heights just by doing what he loved and being who he was.
Yes, right. And another thing is that this movie is almost 20 years old, and it's really hard to believe it's that almost 2 decades old. And one thing to point out here is that this type of movies that have to do with taking place during a wartime was also done differently. Was that there's actually they reveal there's a few Americans and Westerners hiding in Japan until they could safely go back during the fight. And he actually makes friends with some of them. They help him with the planes. And there's even a joke where they say, "Oh, you're getting married? I thought you married a plane first." And it's treated as, this is not a target or anything. This was just a person who also had to deal with the spoils of war and everything. And it's really interesting to see, because the movies made now, when they do the movies, is that, well, that other side was bad, and if they meet any sort of characters or figures from there, well, they're automatically going to be written as bad guys, and they got to fight against them. But in here, it was like, well, both sides are suffering, and you're seeing the little individual impacts. It's not just, oh, that side was bad, and everyone you meet, you're against. It was totally really different. He made some friends that were Japanese, that were German, that were Americans, that were all over.
Italian.
Right. And his biggest inspiration was an Italian man for making these planes. So I think it also really showed that he could get inspiration and value from everybody anywhere on the planet.
Which is true to life, even though for some reason a lot of people don't see it that way. But yes, you can get inspiration, knowledge from many sources all around.
Yes.
Now, also, as you mentioned, this is a love story. And
yes.
so you see the woman he ends up marrying and how that goes.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really a sweet story. Very sweet. And you're happy for him because he's been just focusing planes, and his best friend's married with children, and everyone around him is married with children. He's the only one not married with children.
Right.
So finally he gets around to that. In a most, again, indirect way, law of attraction ends up bringing it about.
Right.
And you get to see just the beauty within the unfortunate events that are taking place. And I really love that about the Miyazaki films. He always manages and makes sure that you see that there's beauty within everything that's going on, every situation, every event, anything that is happening, there's beauty to be found. Sometimes you may have to look for it, harder times than others. But in here again, because of his passion and his love for planes and him focusing on that, it unfolds for him. And the path is just laid by the law of attraction, both for good and for things that are bittersweet.
Yes.
So we are almost done with our quest to finish every Ghibli movie.
Yes.
This is number 11 or 12.
Yes.
So we're almost there. And if you have seen The Wind Rises, let us know what you think in the comments. It's available probably at your local library, or you have to purchase it. And if you don't live in the U.S., you can see it on Netflix.
Mm-hmm.
If you haven't seen it, you definitely should see it again. Every Miyazaki movie is a movie that should be seen and treasured.
Mm-hmm.
This is another one of them. And we really would love to hear what you think of this one, since it's so different from any of his other works.
Right. And if you haven't already, subscribe for updates and videos on your favorite anime series, animated shows, and all things animation.
Absolutely.
So, thank you so much for watching. I'm Ask Entertainment.
Now, Mom Entertainment.
Have a fantastic day.
Peace.